Hi. You're not going out, even if you scream at me.
Woo woo.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. We are live and we're yelling at you, WF Professor, on every social media. It looks like you get a shout out on YouTube, you get a shout out on Facebook, you got a shout out on Twitch because apparently that's what this does. So you're welcome, I guess.
That's a big thank you for calling us cool. I've never been a
Right?
cool kid.
I
Just never-
also have never been a cool kid.
No, I was not.
We were just kind of chatting about that before the show, like not a cool elementary, middle, high schooler. It doesn't surprise you that I wasn't cool?
I think I'm a little offended. I don't know how to take that.
Yeah, like we're supposed to say we weren't cool, and you're supposed to be like, I bet you were cool because you're so cool now. Wow, Future Skeleton. Wow.
Coming in hot.
Right? Spicy. And this is even worse because Mike knew me in college, which is not that far removed from high school. So I'm feeling like Mike didn't think I was cool in college.
Oh.
Starting to rethink my entire last 15 years of my life.
Yeah, also it makes me so sad when I say that. I was like, oh, my 15 years since college. Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing an application thing for work today, and it was like, how many years have you been in education? And I was like, oh no. Oh, too many.
A lot. Yeah. I think it was the first time I had really calculated it, and it was a couple years ago. I was speaking to a lovely person who worked at the art center and dance center where I teach, and he was asking me, because he hadn't been there that long, like how long I'd been involved with it, and I was tallying it up, and I was like, oh man, like at this point it's like 24 years. He's like, hey, I'll be 24 in a couple of months. I'm like, cool. That's fine. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna lay on the floor for a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah. Thank you so much, WF Professor. That's so exciting.
Yay!
I am also so excited for this campaign, and I'm really just jazzed about today and so ready for y'all to keep hearing more of it, because oh my gosh, do I love my season 2 character. Like I was Genevera. Like there was a lot of my like anxiety and I have no idea how to play this game, and that's how I'm gonna play this game in that character, and I love her so much. But like having such a handle on D&D and podcasting and storytelling so much more than half a decade ago, I'm so excited, and I feel like we all kind of live in our characters really nicely already. So
that is so cool. Well, I'm very excited because I will admit that I did not make an effort to go back and listen to the previous 200 episodes, so I'm starting completely fresh.
Honestly, Swan, like if you had, there are some people who have in our Discord, there are people who are like, all right, I'm starting, and this was like 6 months ago, and we were like, okay, and they were done in like 2 weeks or something. I was like, when did you because they'll listen on 2x.
I mean, I'm at 1.6 and I'm still working my way through Botched. So
it's definitely, like Future Skeleton says, it's definitely an investment, but I'm so happy that we've made the connections that we have over the past couple of years, and like we've learned so much more. So it's, if we had started a new campaign in like the middle of our first, I still think we might not have had like the knowledge and perspective that we do now, and it's just the perfect time. And
that's awesome.
So pumped.
Yeah, I can't get over how active your Discord is. Like, it's a little overwhelming at times. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, they just talk. There's so much talking.
An Emily Swan original. I love, so like, I love just looking at my water bottle because it just sits on my desk all day without me drinking it. And this little dog judges me so hard in such a friendly way, and I'm like, okay, okay.
You should be drinking. I just love his little point. I'm so happy.
Sweet little face. Oh dang, that is exciting.
Heck yeah. Oh, what up, Stealth Dad? Hiya.
Stealth Dad.
Stealth Dad.
All right, Swan.
I'm ready.
What do you say we kick this off? I didn't have anything to follow that. It was just kick this off, but it sounded like there was more to that sentence. Oh gosh. Oh geez. Oh boy.
Hey, Trash Pandas, you're listening to An Edition with your adequately perfect hosts, Emily Swan and Stephanie Crugnola.
Hey, you sweet little trash pandas. What's up? I'm Steph here with Swan, and we are so excited to bring you An Edition this week. We are here live on twitch.tv/almostdailypod. And let me tell y'all, you want to be in chat tonight, baby, because we are talking karaoke.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do, like in the world. Like I love karaoke so very, very much. It's cathartic, it's fun, it's social, it is a great way to like hang out with people and also do something. There's always, I have a weird, I don't really understand when people are like, oh yeah, you want to hang out? I'm like, okay, what are we doing?
What is our goal with this?
Hanging out. And I think because I missed a lot of the, like, people did that in high school and I didn't have any free time to have friends.
Too real.
So, right? Like,
I mean, I had great friends at each of the activities that I did back to back to back to back with no free time. But yeah, looking back later when I talked to my friends, I was like, wait, you guys were having parties on the weekend? They're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
What do you do? Like, you just stand there, like you have music? I guess you chat. It's the same thing as adult parties now. I'm like, okay, well, what are we doing? Like, there better be some activities at this function. Otherwise, I am not going to know how to handle myself.
Yeah.
So karaoke, I feel like, is the perfect like night out. Bad karaoke, like the worse the karaoke is, the better sometimes. But I love it. And Swan, I know we've chatted a bit. Are you ready to?
I'm ready.
Yeah,
so
hell
ready.
yeah. We're going to chat our favorite karaoke songs, our go-to karaoke songs. We're going to talk about the songs that you want to listen to when you're at karaoke, the ones that, you know, go over the best, the ones that are just the worst, just the why. And we both have karaoke playlists that we might ask Charles to share. We can put them together. I don't know how long yours is, Swan.
Well, I tried to stop myself. What did I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I stopped at 8.
Okay. Mine is 10 songs, I think. 10 or 11 songs. So we're at a good playlist length, I think. If I sound a little hoarse today, it's because I was so excited about this topic that I made this karaoke playlist and then screamed it all day long in my car.
I love it so much.
Because that to me, we're getting into the topic now. That to me is the essence of a great karaoke song, is if you can just like shout it. Because there's something, like I said, so cathartic about karaoke. For me, at least, I don't know if it's the same for y'all. I'm not trying to be good, but I am trying to be loud.
I like that. Because I can do that. I've got good pipes. They're not always tuned correctly, but they've got some power to them. It's years of being a very small, like short human. Like, oh no, I can get loud. If I need to get loud, I can get loud. So yeah.
Yep. It's pretty great to just like you know, like the kind word is belt, but that implies a sort of technical control over
Mm-hmm.
your voice. That yeah, exactly. WF professor, do it with confidence, and no one will ever be the wiser. Plus, most people at karaoke are drunk, anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um. So let's jump in.
All right.
Swan, what is one of the songs on your playlist?
So I went with I will admit up front, and I admitted this to Steph, that karaoke is always something I have wanted to do in public and I have never actually done. Now I spend a lot of time singing in my car, in my house, and it's fun because the way that my house is set up with the two other apartments, you can hear very clearly everything that happens in the bathroom. So I am constantly putting on shows for the other two apartments. So I went with one. No, honestly, now that we've talked about this, Future X, I want to come down and do karaoke with you guys, like
Honestly,
real bad.
like, when she told me that she had never done karaoke before, I was like, this to me is not even like oh man, how could you have never done karaoke before? This to me is like I'm gonna make sure I'm there for the first time you get to do karaoke, because that is such a it's so exciting. Like, that is what a treat, what a joy to get to experience that with a friend. Like,
yeah. Well, and especially with people who like it. And I think that was part of it. Like before, like I had groups of friends who would always go, but I either didn't make it in time or couldn't like catch up with them or stuff. So to then like try and find a way to go with people I wasn't as comfortable with, I'm just like, no, I'm either not that confident or not that drunk. But speaking of things that I think I could perform really ludicrously in an entertaining way, and I'm going full on Poor Unfortunate Souls from Little Mermaid. Because as I get older,
Disney.
I channel much more Ursula, and like that one just has so much of the like acting part of it. And I was like, I mean, again, the woman who sang that has a gorgeous voice, but you can be a little silly with that one and it's still fun. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I love that. And I want to call out Raging Lady Boner. We did talk about Dragon Con. Mm-hmm. Because there will be so many karaoke opportunities at Dragon Con, and because the Dragon Con folks are so kind and warm and welcoming that like,
yeah,
it makes it a less intimidating,
very much so,
place. Yeah, Stealth Dad, stage fright is definitely, I also get stage fright. Karaoke is something that helps with that, believe it or not, because I love to sing. I love auditioning for music. Well, I love doing musicals. I hate auditioning. I get such bad audition anxiety that I can't see. Like, I will get up there and they will start playing the piano and I will literally black out. So like my hands are shaking. My heart is pounding out of my chest. I'm like kind of hyperventilating. So you can imagine how good my voice sounds. And and I just like, I will typically like my vision will do like a fade in and out. Like, it just kind of like, it's that bad. And so karaoke, because there is no like pressure, everyone's a little tipsy. I'm a little tipsy. That's the best way for me to kind of let it out and let it loose. And it's a little less scary than kind of standing up and being judged constantly.
Well, and I think that's part, like, so again, I mean, I audition for parts in the dance performances, and while I am anxious about that, like, it's not the same, but I think with karaoke, because like there's no prize, like you can't win it. You could get crowd reception, which is cool, but like you can't win, at least not the way I want to do it.
Unless you're doing competitive karaoke, right, which is a thing.
Which I probably won't do for the start. But like, even it's a little bit nicer than like singing along with Rock Band, where like when you start to go off pitch, it's like you're failing. You're failing your band. Like, no. So, and yeah, like I don't need to be hammered. I just need that little bit of like just enough to take the edge off.
Exactly. That is exactly for me personally, the best way to do karaoke.
Yeah.
A little bit loose, kind of get some of those, shake out some of those nerves, but not like drunk, because then you're just like,
Yeah.
and there's nothing good that comes out of that. So I'm gonna start with the first song on my playlist, and one of the things that I like most about karaoke is like when you hit a song that the crowd loves. Yeah, fair, Future Skeleton. It is nothing good for my confidence comes out of my voice.
Yeah.
But like there are some amazing, that's one of my favorite things about karaoke too, is just like totally schwasty people living their hearts on stage. I'm like, heck yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've even had times where like watching people where they were drunk enough that they decided that they had done the part of the song that they were happy with and then just like stopped and left. I'm like, okay, that's hilarious. Like, I love it. You're just like, no, I sang the chorus. I'm good now. I don't know anymore. Like, okay.
Right? Yeah, people
I
who
love it.
think that's always fun too, is people who think they know the song and then they realize it's more than just the chorus.
Yeah.
So one of my karaoke songs, the first one on my playlist for no like real order, just the way it happened to be. And this is actually one of my audition songs as well, which is why I sing it
Ooh.
at karaoke, because I think it helps, like, again, like associate it with something fun and exciting rather than something that makes me want to die. And it's a big old crowd pump, and that's Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler.
Oh, yes. So good.
And like all of the songs on this list pretty much are like pretty famous songs, so that I can count on the audience also singing.
Yep.
And that's what I want. I want every single person in the bar singing, so that it's not just me, because I also hate microphones. And usually I'll have the microphone and I'll be like, hold it as far away from myself as humanly possible, because like I don't need that. Like we can all sing this together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a fun pump up jam. It's an 80s song. I feel like I root myself in the 80s and 90s like very strongly. Almost every song is either an 80s song or so.
No, that fits. And I love it. So I think I had heard that, but then I fell in love with it with the first musical I ever saw, which was Footloose.
Footloose!
And they do it in there, and I was just like, I'm so in. I'm so in on this song. Then it shows up in Shrek 2, and I'm just like, I'm in on this song again. It never gets old.
It doesn't. Yeah. And it's the Footloose musical cut is what I use for my musical auditions.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, yeah. It's so good.
And like hitting the like, oh, it's just like, again, it's just screaming. Controlled screaming. But it's such a jam. Like such a bop.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah. What else you got?
All right. So the next one I went to, and it's funny because there is I'm sure I could find it because I know someone has it. There's a recording of me doing this. Yeah. I don't even think I was that drunk, but it's The Song That Begins by Weird Al. So it is literally the Star Wars parody version of, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the actual song. But yeah, it's Weird Al's version all about like Phantom Menace. And it was one of those where like we were at a party and it's one of my friends who knows it as well. And like unprompted, we just sang it, but it's like 4 minutes long. And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember all the words. Why do I still remember all the words?
Oh my God, it's American Pie.
American Pie. There it is. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Thank you, WF Professor. Yeah, I totally, like, I've only listened to the Weird Al version for so long. I was like, wait, what song is it? Yeah, so it's to the tune of American Pie, but it's all Star Wars.
So do you ask the karaoke guy to play American Pie and then you sing the Weird Al? Because that is the most boss baller move I have ever heard. Like that is maybe the best karaoke fake out, because nobody wants to hear you sing American Pie.
No,
nobody wants to hear you sing American Pie. So like that comes up on the karaoke screen and everyone's like, oh Jesus, Mary and Joseph. And you start singing about Star Wars.
Oh, that'd be such a flex. I'd do it. I would absolutely do it because I still, like I said, I know the words, but oh my God, I love it. Yeah, so much so that when I do listen to the original, I was like, I don't remember these words anymore. I've only replaced them now with Weird Al.
Oh my God, that is so funny. That's so fun.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on longer songs, like 4 or 5 minutes? Because like that's something that is a for karaoke for sure.
Yeah, I think you have to pick and choose. And I think from what I've seen with like nights when I've been at the bar in the before times, when there would be karaoke, like you had to kind of let it build up to it, and it had to be a performer that was actually entertaining. Because I think, like, I know we had talked about it at one point. It was the Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. Like, it's a really fun Meatloaf song, and the crowd interacts, like, but you gotta play that just right. Because if you get to that song and everyone's like, okay,
Yep.
okay. So I think it's okay. I don't want every person to get up and sing, especially like
Yes.
ballads, like longer ballads. Yeah,
Oh,
Bohemian Rhapsody I would
so
do. Yeah.
let me tell you about long ballads because that's my one long song on this list, and it is probably one of my well, I love karaoke, so I can't even. It's one of my favorites. And it has a very specific audience. If there is the right bar for this song, and there are 95 wrong bars for this song, and it's all coming back to me now by Celine Dion.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Because it is so, and if you have Celine fans in your audience, and like when I was living in Denver, we used to have every Monday night we would all do karaoke, and we started at a bar that a guy came and played piano, and it was all musicals. It was Musical Monday, and he played the piano. He brought all of his songbooks, and you could bring your Broadway songbooks, and he like laid them all out on a table, and you'd pick your song, and you'd go up, and he'd play it live, and you'd sing, and he'd sing, and everyone would sing, and then we would all go to the bar down the street, and that was like Chaos Bar, and do like regular karaoke after that, and like It's All Coming Back to Me Now is killer.
Well, because I feel like that one builds too. And like yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm realizing like a lot of these, and no, this should be a surprise to absolutely nobody, but the Celine song that I picked on my list is Ashes, and it's the one from Deadpool. Like,
yeah, because
I'm realizing with all these, I'm like, I'm gonna sing nerdy shit. Like that's where I live, and those are the ones where I'm like, again, I feel like I can belt it because even though it's Celine, like the music video is of Deadpool, like dancing around.
Well, that helps you kind of get into it too.
Because then I'm focused on that and not necessarily on like how I sound.
Yeah, I once described my vocal range as meeting It's All Coming Back to Me Now, and not quite meeting My Heart Will Go On.
Okay.
Like, It's All Coming Back to Me Now is the top of my range, and My Heart Will Go On is just above the top of my range.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Also,
so if
like,
you can put that into musical notes to put on my resume, hit me up.
Yeah. No, and it's again, that's that very fine line of how drunk am I, because there's a lot of pop songs, especially female-led pop songs, are soprano, and I'm super not a soprano. So like they're out of my vocal range. I'm not warmed up. I'm drunk. Like, so we got to pick like how many minutes do I have to strain my voice and sing out of like all tight throat so that I can get the notes that I need.
Exactly. And that's why like I would always do Celine Dion at the end of the night when like I wasn't drunk. And like that, because I can't fathom doing that song without like it would literally ruin my voice.
Yeah.
Like it would be so dangerous to do that song drunk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is, and again, you can tell this is the very lack of care I have for any of my vocal folds. I'm just like, no, I'll be real mean to you. Like I'm gonna scream with no warm up, because that was a good idea. And again, like literally every heavy metal concert I've ever come home from after like screaming the lyrics all night, and I'm just like, I have no voice left. It's all gone. But I loved it. So it's funny we talk about range, because that directly corresponds to the next one that I brought, and I know it's ridiculous, but it is Angel by Shaggy. And it's because literally the chorus is right in my very happy vocal range. And it's so bad because you either commit and do the verses in the accent that is not yours, or you don't. But like the chorus is all that. So that's one where I was like, I know the words, but I'm just there for that gorgeous chorus because that's right in my like alto range, and I love it.
That is so funny.
Oh yeah.
I love in chat. El Hanley says, if I'm drunk enough to karaoke, I'm drunk enough to claim every song is my favorite song from Garth Brooks to AC/DC, and my rap skills excel. And then we got a really good shout from Raging Lady Boner, Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
Is a really good non-soprano pop song. And that is, yeah, you're spot on that. That's a good crowd one too. You got to get that. Everyone comes in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah. No, Miley, as much as it wasn't always my jam, there's definitely a few, like her singing Jolene is just out of this world. But I was like, oh, like she's actually a lot lower than I gave her credit for. Cause obviously like I was familiar with like Hannah Montana and that level of pop, but like as she came into her own, I was like, oh, she's sitting a lot lower than I was expecting. And yeah, it's a lot closer to what I can actually reach. So
funny you mentioned Jolene.
That's so good.
It's a good one.
It's so good.
A good one for karaoke. Again, because everyone knows it and everyone loves it.
And it's not that long. It is a surprisingly short song.
Super short. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good, quick, like, get up, get in there, go sit down.
Yep. Oh, Stealth Dad, Five Finger Death Punch. Yeah, so there's their the Five Finger Death Punch cover of oh my gosh. I'm blanking on all of the names tonight. It'll come to me.
Five Finger Death Punch is.
They're super heavy metal. Offspring. It's their cover of an Offspring song where they do it a little bit slower. I would sing that one because that one's really good. But also, awesome. Like, I would do some Offspring. Again, like, I feel like I would feel a lot more comfortable, especially even with, like, the Shaggy one, or, like, if I did anything like Evanescence. Like, if I could have someone else up there with me doing it as a duet, like, I think that would probably make me feel a little bit more confident just having someone standing next to me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Stealth Dad.
So we've got Stealth Dad putting in some ideas in our chat here, like House of the Rising Sun. Go ahead and tell us here, if you're watching live with us, tell us your picks for karaoke. If you're not watching live with us and you're listening, email us at inadditionpod@gmail.com. We want to hear your favorite karaoke songs and what you love about karaoke. Future Skeleton says Friday I'm in Love, Blister in the Sun, Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne, which is so funny.
I really want to hear that now. Now that he mentioned that, I'm like, oh, I need that. I need that in my life.
Yeah, I've seen him do Blister in the Sun, which is very good. And I don't know if I've seen him do any other karaoke than that.
Almost Paradise is really good. Raging Lady Boner. Yeah,
Almost Paradise is so good, and so honestly, is Jackson.
That whole Footloose soundtrack from the musical is just so good. It's so good. Yeah, so if I was gonna pick an Avril song, I'm gonna go with so my housemate had Glee karaoke for the Wii. And the one that I would go to out of that, because again, because all the songs are written for Rachel Berry, who is a super duper soprano. So I would do Keep Holding On by Avril. That's the one that's like, again, it's right at the top of where I can handle, but that's a belting one. Like, yeah, not a happy one. Like, again, that's a very tempered, like I'd have to have the right crowd that was ready for that because it's not peppy.
Yeah. I love Girlfriend by Avril as well. That is a super fun song.
Oh yeah.
Paramore is great too. Yeah.
So good. She has the most incredible voice. It just kills me. That's awesome. Hayley Williams is super talented. But yeah, also super fun.
Now, here's a question. I saw there was a post on Facebook a while back that I saw that I was like it was so weird to me. It was some person that I guess I met once in Rhode Island, and they were complaining that good people showed up to their karaoke night, and it made them feel bad. and they were mad about it.
Hmm.
And like, because karaoke isn't a place for you to show off your voice, it's a place to have fun.
But then I go to the taco commercial girl, like, why not both?
Exactly. And like,
why not both?
first of all, like, if they're being big old ding dongs about it, like,
Exactly.
pretentious buttholes, but that goes for everybody who does karaoke. Like, you have to be like, you want to be there and be there for the crowd and like have fun and be cool and be respectful and all of that. So like, if that's the case, like if they're being snooty or whatever, I guess, but like, you're gonna get mad at someone for going to karaoke just because they're better than you and you're mad about it?
Yeah. Again, like you said, like unless they are literally like filling up all the slots or, you know, just one after the other, picking really challenging songs that aren't fun, or like, yeah, that would be frustrating.
Yeah,
no
they're
matter
not
who
trying to
did
get
it,
the crowd. Like, I don't
but
know.
if you're just having fun and you just happen to have a better instrument than someone else, like, okay. Yeah, I'm jealous too. I wish I had a great voice, but you know, here we are.
Yeah, it just yeah, it was just a weird thing, and it was not anything I'd ever heard before, because I was like, karaoke feels like it's for everyone. And that's what I love about karaoke, is that it's for people who are good and people who cannot hold a note to save their lives. And the goal is that everyone loves that. Everyone loves all of it, right? And I guess
feel
the
like
mix
that's
is
yeah.
what you're there for.
Like you'd go and play like, I mean, I call it putt-putt, but also miniature golf. Like getting really mad that someone's getting like, you know, par 2 or holes in 1 on miniature golf. Like,
Yeah.
okay, they're better at putting than I. But it's literally putt-putt. Who cares?
Nobody's winning money. Like, these aren't competition leagues. These are just
yeah. Like, okay, so I'll let them go ahead of me. Okay,
Right.
yeah. No, I think that's too bad. That bums me out, because I think, again, it's the, I hate to use the term gatekeeping because that's such a very loaded thing, but it's the, I don't want certain people at my fun because somehow you managed to diminish my fun. Not actually because you're doing anything, just because I can't handle it, and that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's a super bummer. This is a so Stealth Dad and WF Professor bring up a good question in chat, kind of. Journey, super overdone, right? Like, we could listen, we've heard whatever the hell their song is. What's their song? Just a small town girl. What is that song?
Summer 69.
No.
Oh, Don't Stop Believing. Sorry.
Thank you.
Hey, you know what? Be nice.
I've been living in my power woman 80s and 90s all day, so
yeah, no part of my brain is working tonight.
But like,
Small Town World.
Is that what I said?
I don't know. Might have been what I said.
So, like, really overdone songs. Do you want to hear them? Or like, what's good about them? What is annoying about them? Like, what do you want to hear at karaoke?
Well, I was going to say, for me, it was the Sweet Caroline. And that was because it didn't matter if we were out to karaoke or we were out at the bar. Like, that one gets everybody singing. Now, I'll say my addendum to this is, I think there's going to be a moratorium on like banned songs for a good 6 months after the world opens up again, because literally nobody's been out singing like there's been no karaoke. Like, so you know what? You want to get up and sing Journey because it's been 2 years since you could sing Journey in front of a crowd. Go for it. Like, like I feel like there should be a grace period where we're just like, no, it's okay. Like, sing Don't Stop Believing, or sing Boston. Like, just go, you know. And
I'm kind of like, maybe it's because I don't do karaoke enough. Like, if I did karaoke all the time, I would have a different like perspective. But I'm with Future Skeleton in chat. Like, give me all the obvious ones. Give me Sweet Caroline 15 times over. Like, you can, it's always funny because not living in Boston anymore, you can always tell who's from Boston in a crowd because they get so freaking hype on Sweet Caroline. And you're like, you. I know where you're from.
Yeah. I would do
like, give me those hits. Give me that hype. Future Skeleton says, I want to hear all the hits if I go to karaoke. It's like going to see the Stones and they don't play Satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah, like you are expecting certain things from it, and that's okay. Also, I would totally be down for Shipping Up to Boston, even though I can't sing like the Dropkick Murphys. But talk about screaming, like that I can do. I'll
Yep.
scream Rose Tattoo. I'm not afraid.
All right, Swan, hit me with the rest of your list. Rapid fire playlist.
Rapid fire playlist. All right. So one of the other ones, again, fall into the nerdy thing. It's the 4-chord song by Axis of Awesome. And it works because it's literally all the same 4 chords. And I can sing those 4 chords. So I love that. If we actually want to talk female artists, especially ladies of the 80s, I'm going Maria by Blondie. Because she's got a lower register. She's right in my, I could sing this. And I love that song. Like, it's a fucking bop, and I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, and then, so if I can, again, as we've talked about Disney, like anything Disney's going to win me over. If the karaoke person is totally open, I'm going to go I Believe from the Book of Mormon. Because that's like, again, totally ridiculous and out of context. It makes no sense.
Such a good song.
But I love it. And I love when I'm singing it in my car with like the windows down and I'm just singing about like my love of God. And I'm like, oh, this sounds like I'm way more Christian than I actually am. But it's just, I love this song. So yeah. Yeah, those are my big ones.
That's so good. Some heavy hitters on my list. Piece of My Heart, Janis Joplin, is one of my favorite songs to sing. Also Bitch by Meredith Brooks.
Yeah.
What's Up by Four Non Blondes. Like so much crowd wooing in that song. Crowd wooing and haying. And then we've got Torn by Natalie Imbruglia.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. So I fell in love with that so much when she did the duet with the mime. So if you want to sing that, I will get up there and I will mime that along with you because that I can do. That's the hand dancing I can do.
Yes, I love that. And then Zombie by the Cranberries and the pinnacle of basically anything from Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill.
Very fair.
Because how could you beat it?
Also, again, I feel like if you've got a crowd of people right in our age range, that one's going to land so solidly.
Yep. You Ought to Know is like guaranteed crowd killer. So I want to point out a couple things in chat. Future Skeleton did take me to a sad song karaoke night, and it was the best thing ever. Because one thing that I do love to do, if I'm in a bar that I like don't really like, you know, like that I'm like kind of like on, or like the people are being total assholes. Like, I don't know, just like the right vibe. He's got a friend who will go up and sing Empty Chairs at Empty Tables from Les Mis. And I will do that with On My Own. If I'm like, if it is the right vibe and I just want to just murder any bit of happiness everyone has in that place, it's got to be like it's like a vindictive karaoke.
Yeah.
Like you're going to sit and listen to me for 3 minutes.
Well, it's the, you know, and I know the ADD boys have talked about it, especially Mike and Phil, where they're like, you know what? I'm hurting. I just want to hurt more. You know what's going to hurt more? This. So for me, that's She Used to Be Mine from Waitress. I get, if I want to get real sad, yeah.
So that's actually, they did one musical theater karaoke down here before, like piano karaoke before COVID, and that was a song that I sang because it is one of my favorite songs of all time to sing.
It's gorgeous. Not when I sing it, but I love it and I'll sing it anyways. It's just, oh God.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Stealth Dad asks me if I would do the Bad Wolves version of Zombie, and I have no idea what that means, so I'm going to say no. Absolutely not. I will never do that at karaoke.
I would do that one, Stealth Dad, because his voice is a lot closer in range to what I can sing. I'll sing you all the heavy metal stuff. I can do that.
So I'm going to wrap with the best karaoke performance I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
And that was probably like 75, 80-year-old man getting up, tiny little man, gets up on stage, and all of a sudden we hear ba-na-na-na-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na-na-na, and he stands on stage for 2 minutes doing this, and then all of a sudden he looks at everyone dead in the eyes and goes, "Tequila!"
Oh god, it's so good.
Most amazing, like inspired performance. I was screaming.
Oh my
Everyone was screaming. Everyone was cheering so
that's so good.
it was so absurd. And it is one of my favorite karaoke memories of all time.
It's perfect though. It's just chef's kiss. That's owning it in the best way.
Yep.
Oh
I
my
loved
God,
it
I love it
so
I love it
much.
so much.
I love karaoke. And you know what else I love?
I think I
love
know,
Adventure
but tell me.
Incorporated. For those of you who don't know, I've been doing a Dungeons and Dragons 5e actual play podcast for the last 5 years. We spent 5 years on our first campaign, and we've wrapped it up in March, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my artistic career life. And finishing that up with such a satisfying ending to our first story, having spent so long with these characters and growing this podcast was absolutely phenomenal. And now we're starting campaign 2. It is totally fresh and totally new. You don't need to have any prior knowledge of campaign 1 to join in. It is the perfect time to join in because we just released our first episode today. So it's really exciting. You can find us on Twitter at Adventure Inc. Pod, Facebook, Adventure Incorporated Podcast. We've got some character teasers, trailers. We've got a show trailer that you can check out, see if it sounds like something you'll like. And then spend the first episode with us. It is a blast. It's so much fun to do. I'm so in love with my season 2 character already. And it's been really cool to get to experience the start of this 5 years later with something so new and different, but like the same, same folks and same people that have been with us through season 1. So we're excited to grow and we're excited to get going. And we'd be so grateful if you checked it out. It is Adventure Incorporated Podcast. And you can find me on the internet at Kruggles, or my Shakespeare podcast, Protest Too Much, which is at P2M Pod. You can find me here every first and third Monday night with the amazing Emily Swan at twitch.tv/almostdailypod. We are the sister podcast of
Almost Daily Discourse.
We are, in addition, we are the sister pod of Almost Daily Discourse, who you can find every single Wednesday night at twitch.tv/almostdailypod. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, everyone in chat, for giving your karaoke bests. If you've got a karaoke song you want to hear us do in our car, email us at inadditionpod@gmail.com. It's fine. Goodbye. I forgot to check with Charles if that was long enough for him.
Also, did you listen to it? He left in everything. Like, we do the cut. We're like, okay, we think that was enough for Charles. Then you hear Mike talk, and then it's another 10 minutes of Raging Lady Boner, you and me talking about other stuff. And I was like, oops. Okay.
I will touch base with him because I wanted to make sure we had done enough, and maybe it wasn't.
That's so funny. Also, now all I really want is a musical episode.
All I really want
of Adventure Inc. I don't know if Anthony sings, but even if he doesn't, I want him to.
Anthony hates music.
Yeah, that fits. That tracks. Music and animals. I'm amazed he had kids because I assumed he'd hate them too. I mean, he might still. They're not mutually exclusive. Oh God, too funny.
I would love to do a musical episode, but it would definitely take planning.
Yeah,
I did musical improv for a while.
Oh,
it's
wow.
very hard.
Yeah.
And it's very hard when the crew of Adventure Incorporated are people that I would do a musical improv story with. The people that I was doing musical improv with were not people who were capable of telling a story.
Oh boy. Okay.
It was chaos and it was bad and it was really frustrating. But it's definitely something that I would love to be able to do. But we would have to be much more proficient at like music
Yeah.
to pull that off.
Wow.
Avril Lavigne over here.
He's very spicy tonight.
So spicy tonight.
They didn't get to do their full episodes, so he's still got an extra zip to him.
Right? Yeah. Like, come on.
Well, it makes me appreciate like watching Whose Line Is It Anyways when like Wayne and Chip would do musical improv, and I know for that it wasn't as much improv, but still, like, or even the drinking songs, like any of that. I'm like, to come up with any of it kind of on the spot, or even after a day of coming up with stuff, I'm like, I couldn't do that to save my life.
It's really fun, and like it's almost basically like that 4-chord. Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
Because the improv group that I was in, what we were trying to do, my like goal, my vision, is I wanted to do like 30-minute musicals. Like I wanted to improvise, and we had started to get okay at it, like in rehearsals and stuff. But it's basically like you have like 6 songs, like 6 chord not 6 chord progressions, but like a couple different chord progressions, and then you speed it up or slow it down based on like what you need, but like that at least you know a melody that you can use to those 4 chords, like you've practiced enough to have some options. So like it's not super hard. It's just getting like not singing about what you're doing, because like that's, you know, such an improv trap. Like it is. It's like, oh, I'm washing the dishes. It's so much fun today. Man, it's so great to be washing the dishes. And you're like, okay, cool. And that's what people would do with singing. They would be like, I love this conversation we're having. It's like, no, just sing the conversation. What are you doing?
Got so close. Were you ever a follower of the Star Kid productions?
I've seen them.
Okay,
I really like Twisted, Firebringer.
I was gonna say, I love Firebringer.
The work song.
Oh yeah, which I love that it's now on like TikTok and Reels, and I'm just like, I know what that's from, and it is catchy. I also like from their original one, like the amount of time that I want to sing, you're like, it's me and my dick, and I'm just like, you can't sing that because that doesn't actually work, but it doesn't stop me.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So oh, it's so good. Yeah, so I'm excited. Dragon Con karaoke.
Karaoke.
I was impressed. Tony P, he was modding one or helping one the first year that I went, and so we popped in for a little bit, and one of the guys did the Pokemon rap, and I was just like kudos to you. That was awesome. So like the nerdiness was very high. And it was literally like whatever we can find on YouTube that has the lyrics, we will play. That's awesome. So like, you know, it was definitely, one kid asked for something from like Persona video game. Like it was a lot of random stuff, but obviously right crowd for that.
So a lot of your songs are going to fit in perfect.
I'm ready for that.
Not necessarily a Celine crowd.
No. Yeah, I would have to really, I was thinking one of the other ones I forgot was Invincible by Pat Benatar. Like I could do some Pat Benatar. Like that feels, I can get into that. Good. Yeah. I can always do Mickey.
I'm saying 80s and 90s lady bops.
Bangers. Lady bangers.
Lady bangers. Yeah, that was the word I wanted to say, but like it didn't sound good coming out.
Oh.
Anyway.
My lady jam.
Lady bop. A lady bop.
Oh.
All right. What do you say we
do
another episode?
We could do karaoke at like the picnic or something, like in the botched house where we just sing loudly.
Yes.
All right, let me pull up my stuff. Yeah. Remember what I'm talking about? All right. Yeah. Chat, you ready? We'll do that. All right. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to find the thing.
Let's do it.
Hey, you trash pandas. You're listening to In Addition with your adequately perfect hosts, Stephanie Crugnola and Emily Swan.
What is up, Trash Pandas? Welcome back to In Addition Pod. We are so happy to be here with you. I am Swan and hanging out here tonight with Steph. We just got done talking some karaoke. And now, because the first song that I entered into that was from Little Mermaid, that inspired my question for tonight. And that is along the lines of, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? And I want to know what we collect. What different things are in your collection? Like, what's it important to you to have either first editions of or full runs of, or if it's toys or we'll say even collectibles, or like, what is it that is important to you to own copies of? So, sorry. We have a very adventurous bot who is very excited for us to get famous.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know how to do it. I don't know how.
Ban.
You did it.
Ban. Get out of here. Ban.
Oops.
Ban.
Good
Bring
work.
the ban hammer down. Ah.
Good work. Thanks, Future
Ah.
Skeleton. One day I'll learn how to use Twitch. Anyway, collecting things. We are
Yeah!
collecting followers today. If
Yes.
we listen to our bots.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I don't need to collect, like, I would like to have followers, but I don't want to collect them. That's a little bit Tony in his room with the moving blankets on the wall, like collector. Yeah, let's not collect people. That's a whole different conversation.
So yeah, collecting. I guess my most obvious answer is editions of T.H. White's The Once and Future King. Editions of Antoine Saint-Exupéry's The Little Prince. Editions of Shakespeare plays.
I like that. That fits. I could see that.
I legitimately have to think hard about any other answer to this question that isn't books. And
Nope, I get it, because when I brought it up, my first thing I was like, well, it's comics. Like, it's comic books. That's the thing that I collect. That's the thing I've spent a lot of time collecting. I have a lot of them that I own, and I still want more, even though I haven't read all the ones that I've collected.
Yeah.
So, but it's fine. They're there.
That's not
They're
how
there
it
for me
works.
when I'm ready. Yeah.
it's
Like-
not like you have to finish all the books you have before you buy new books.
Oh gosh, no. Yeah, but I'm with you. Mine has always been different versions of Jane Austen novels and different novelizations, because they, again, like so many, we'll say classics, they repackage and reproduce them a lot. And I have a thing about, I like nothing wrong with the mass market paperback size, but I like that slightly oversized size. Like, I like that. So I'm like, ooh, there's a new one. Ooh, I like this cover. I don't need another copy of Persuasion, but I'm gonna buy it because I want it.
Okay, so funny story. I'm not a fan of Vic Lit. Like, I just haven't read enough of it because I decided in college that I hated it. So I haven't really read any, I haven't read all like the heavy hitter Austins or anything. I love Wuthering Heights, and I love The Letter in Persuasion. And every time I'm in a bookstore, I will go and I will read The Letter in Persuasion. I don't even know if I own a copy of Persuasion, like my own copy, because I don't know if I've ever bought one. But like every time I'm in a bookstore, I will walk by and I will read a copy of that letter, because it is soul crushing and heartbreaking and so beautifully written.
It's such a
No.
good moment to I'm getting
Half
chills.
agony, half hope. Like, that's just like, there's so much, especially if you are like really struggling after a relationship or waiting for if you're in any kind of romantic limbo, there's so much that like is just so real about that. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's not what this is about.
I was gonna say we could talk. I could talk Jane Austen for a lot, but there's again, there's a movie adaptation of the Jane Austen book club. I didn't like the book as much as I actually liked the movie, but there's a great line in the movie where one of the characters is saying that she likes that Jane Austen always lets the male characters explain themselves. It's usually through a letter, but like it is, and there's a lot of characters in there who present themselves and really find their words through writing, and persuasion is one of the big ones. Like that, it's just, and it impresses me so much because it feels like the character who is writing it. Like it's not just this is a beautifully written letter, but it's a beautifully written letter specifically from this character. And so good.
I am glad that you understand the allure in owning multiple editions of a single book. Because like I'm a sucker for new. Ooh, you got that sweet new cover? Yes, give me that sweet new cover.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like Mike's awesome because even if he doesn't, understand, because I'm not sure he would buy multiple copies of the same book, but like he supports and gets it enough for like to not judge me the next time I buy the same book just in a different cover. Sure, that's right. We have like between the two of us, we have like 5 Little Prince or Little Prince adjacent books.
I love that.
Like one of them's in French, so it's different.
Yep.
But yeah, so like it's nice to have a partner who doesn't totally judge that, because it would be really sad if I were like embarrassed at the books I were buying.
Yep. No, and I think the thing about collecting is, especially if you are sharing space with someone, these are items that take up space. Even if they're small collectibles, it's still a space user. And so if you have someone who doesn't like the space being taken up, it's very difficult to be like, but guess what? I brought home another thing.
Another one of those things you hate. Yay!
Yay! Yeah. No,
I brings up a really good point in chat. Sorry.
No, you don't. You're good.
He says one's in French and one's the one I highlighted. One's a clean copy for when I loan out the highlighted one. And that's something that like mostly with Once and Future King, because it's my favorite book of all time. Like I've underlined and arrowed and highlighted, and like that's the like I love giving people books. I love saying borrow this, but like it's okay if you don't give it back, like because I will buy another one. And then like so having multiple copies of that and having notes in books, like I love marking up books, and I love like finding things that mean something to me and underlining it, because then I look back and I'm like, this is where I was in my life. These were the things that I was highlighting, and yikes, I was in a bad place and I didn't even realize how bad of a place I was in. Yeah. But you can tell from these quotes.
What was speaking to me at that time? Oh, okay.
Perhaps we all give the best of our hearts uncritically to those who hardly think about us in return. That was my like rip through the paper underlined section of the Once and Future King for a long time.
No, but I love that. I love the idea. And I think it's such a great idea to have books that you want to share with people. Like, especially, when you're thinking about giving a gift, like it seems weirdly self-serving, but I'm giving you a book that I love. But I don't know. I kind of like, no, I'm at least going to try it because you like it. Like that makes me that much more excited to read it. There was one I used to encourage people all the time, and it was Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Sure.
Which is, again, it's random, but it was the first time, as someone who has ridden motorcycles for a long time, like the way that the author talks about like being on the bike and traveling and this and that, like it was the words that I couldn't ever come up with to articulate how it made me feel. And it like, even with that one, I would say like at a certain point, it gets a little bit weird and it's a little bit more philosophical than I was ready for. But I was like, even if you just read this first chunk, like this speaks to me. And if you want to know what it's like, aside from all the fear and the other drivers and all that, like alone, on my own on an empty country road, this is that feeling. This is what it's like.
We'll get back to collecting after I give this real quick tip. Never stress about Yankee swaps ever again in your life, because I cracked the Yankee swap code open. I get so stressed about Yankee swaps. I'm like, do you do something funny? Do you do something cool? Do you do something like I hate them. They give me so much freaking anxiety. White
Mhm.
elephant, if you're
Yeah, no, that
in
was I
any
was
of
gonna
them.
say white elephant, like stressed. Like I am
So
sitting
stressed.
there, I am like there is sweat dripping down the center of my back. I am so stressed about this. I don't like it. I
Hate
don't
it.
like it
I
at
hate
all.
them. I hate them. But I have cracked the code. You go to a used bookstore and you buy, you know, $15, $20, or whatever your dollar limit is of your favorite books.
Oh, I like
So now you have like 6, 7 books, and like you put them in a gift bag. And now I don't give a shit if you don't like it because I feel good about having given this gift. So like if the person who gets it doesn't appreciate it or like it, or if it's, you know, not the gift for them, somebody at that party is bound to be excited about books.
Mhm.
And you know what? If it comes back to me, guess what? I have a new edition of all of my favorite books.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. No, I love
what?
that.
It's the best. It's
That's
like
so good.
it's so yeah. Anyway, that's my pro tip from me to all of you.
That's so good. I
Um,
fully support that.
Email us at inadditionpod@gmail.com. Inadditionpod@gmail.com. Tell us your favorite books to give in a Yankee swap.
Yes, please.
Give me new
Yeah.
ideas because I can't give the same ones I did last year or 2 years ago in the Yankee swap. Can't do that. Gotta find new ones.
Well, and I loved like so my mom is a humongous Agatha Christie fan. And for a long, long time, and it was great because you know, the joke was for a long time, like she's not a tech person. Like she didn't want to email, she didn't want to be on the internet. So she's not going to go to eBay. She's not going to go to Amazon. Like she's literally going to like used book sales to find these old Agatha Christie's. And she had her whole list of when she was collecting and she finally found it. But we also, again, like you were talking about, we found one in Spanish. And so when I was working on Spanish in high school very poorly, I would read Spanish Agatha Christie to her because even though she didn't speak Spanish, because her and everyone else in my family took French, she knew the story. So like I could kind of piece together what the words were supposed to be, but she could tell me what was going on. And it was really fun.
I
Like,
love books in other languages. Like
oh,
there's
so
something-
good.
So like Shakespeare copies in other languages. Yes, please. Gatsby Le Magnifique. Merci.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, the only thing I'll say when it comes to multiple book copies, the ones that I don't like, and this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, is if there's a book that has been adapted into the movie, I don't want the movie cover. I want the art cover. Like no, I don't. Nope, I want the art cover. And I have bought, like, I always love the thought behind don't judge a book by its cover. I'm like, but I super do. And that's why you hire a really good graphic designer, because people do judge the books by their cover. And if the cover looks cool, I'm going to buy it. I have like 4 books that have the word Swan in the title because it had part of my name and a cool cover. Haven't read any of them, but I'm like, I'd like to own this.
That's so funny.
Yep.
I love that.
Oh,
all right. Other things we collect.
So I love this because I know it's been brought up on ADD, and especially with Phil, because we've talked about it. It's, for me, sketchbooks, but also notebooks. Like nice, cool cover notebooks, nice, like hand-bound ones. I know you and I had talked about it at one point because we were talking about leatherworking. So this is this adorable little like leather notebook that I got that's all like recycled paper, and it's got this great thing. I love it. I won't touch it. I won't put anything in it because then I won't have it pristine anymore. So I just collect them and keep them and not use them and draw on scrap paper instead of drawing in a sketchbook.
Yep.
But it's so, I just love them.
I had to make myself stop buying journals. I have so many, and like I don't even have a ton of empty journals anymore because like I moved, and so like I got rid of the empty ones that weren't like sentimental. But I used to make myself journals in high school. I would cut out magazine pictures and I would paste them. I will find one of them and I will paste a picture of it. It's like Scotty Too Hottie from WWE and like weird like, quotes. It is high school stuff and it's pretty amazing. But like I will journal once and then never again. And then I'll go back to it like 6 years later and I'm like, wow. There are some journals from college that like
Yeah.
Like, I was feeling things.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
feeling a lot of things. I was using a lot of swear words and a lot of exclamation marks.
Yeah, mine, because some of them were. So I've never been a confident writer. Like I could write analytical papers pretty well because it didn't take as much creativity, and somehow that made sense. But for the few times that I would try and venture into like putting my imagined stories into words, like I go back and read them later, I'm like, this is so cringy. Like I am getting so embarrassed reading this for my former self. Like, oh,
yeah.
I
Same.
can't do it. And people are like, yeah, why don't you write more stories for your comics? I'm like, ha 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 ha. No, no, because
Patreon tier, $150,000 level.
I was gonna say it's gonna be like a $500 Patreon tier before I'd ever. It's so bad. Like,
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for little Emily because she was so woefully naive and she was just so wholesome, but she was not a good writer. Oh God,
And
it
like,
was so bad.
I consider myself like a writer. I write stories and books, like nothing happens to them, but like I write them. And when college me, and that's just like it's the same thing for art. It's the same thing for like you get more confident as you go, as you practice more. But like you look at that, I look at that early stuff of mine, that stuff on. I lent I lent a friend my laptop a few years ago, and because she was going on a work trip, and I was like, yeah, like you can take it and literally like do whatever you want, use whatever you need to do, but like do not open this folder. And she's like, it feels weird for you to have a porn folder. And I was like, I don't. It's my writing. Like that to me was more like no, this is my writing folder and I swear to Jesus, if you open this, I will never forgive you because it's just like that's how I get about it.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'd be far less embarrassed to be like, oh yeah, no, that's my porn. But like, please don't read my writing. Please don't. Please don't read that. Oh gosh.
L. Hanley in chat says you should let a non-artist friend illustrate your
Oh
stories.
gosh.
We should switch. We should do that. You can give me your stories, which I guarantee you aren't as bad as you're letting on. And I will illustrate them, which I guarantee is worse than I can let on.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. But you know, it's one of those where, you know, I can laugh about it now, but also like there is, and it again, I could go into a full tangent about it. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but there is this very cool thing about when your brain is forming and when you're learning art and you look at children's art, especially elementary school, where the way that they draw and the way that they perceive themselves and choose to do that, even as an adult, you can't go back to drawing like that. You can draw simplistically, but you can't draw from that same mindset because you're never at that mindset again. You age out of it. So the drawings that you do are still because you understand how many fingers you have. You understand how anatomy works, even if you can't represent it. So like, it's also of the like, nope, I realize that I miss having that kind of just imagination run wild because I don't have that anymore. I still have a good imagination and I can make pictures from what I'm thinking, but I don't just have like just this active fantasy imagination happening anymore. And I miss that.
The reckless abandon too. Like Mike and I were at the gym the other morning and we saw this kid like flinging himself off the rock wall, like just would try anything and like he fell on his face and he was totally cool with it. Like there's a level of absolute abandon that this child was living with. And I think that when we're kids, we have that same thing for whether it's art or writing or, you know, whatever. Like you have an idea in your head. That's the best idea you've ever had. And you're going to write it now or you're going to draw it now. And as adults, we edit ourselves so much. Like we have this, maybe we have the same wild idea, but like immediately your brain says, no, what?
No.
Go back to bed. It's 3:00 in the morning.
What are you doing?
And whereas like, you know, a kid, you're like, I got to get this down on paper now. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I kind of miss that.
I miss that. And you know, before we went live, we were talking about siblings. And because I was an only child for 10 years of my life, like there was a lot of time spent, obviously, you know, my parents were outside doing stuff. So I played alone a lot. And my parents would even say, like, I was completely content because I was just, bombing around the woods or on the rock wall, like doing that stuff where I was like, I had a whole story going in my head. And I miss that. I miss that.
Yeah.
Just like I was in it. I was immersed in that imaginary world that I had going. And yeah, that's
Yeah,
so
and
we'll see.
I carried that through like well into high school, which again, we head back to the top. Very cool in high school.
Yeah, we were pretty much the coolest.
Very overactive imagination and would like live out these stories in my head and get them on paper and like type 10 pages of something for, it's just nonsense, utter nonsense, absolute malarkey. And I look at my writing now and I still like in the past 5 years or so, like I let people read my writing now. And that is such a huge improvement for my self-confidence and self-esteem. And like, it's not great, but it's good enough to let someone read. And that feels pretty good. It's not a do not open this folder type of thing. Like, be gentle, but here it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was always very envious of people who could be, especially with poetry, because I will admit that even in creative writing, like there was a weird creative block for me when it came to poetry. Like, unless you were asking me to make things that rhymed or were funny, I didn't understand how you wrote poetry. Which is so funny because of the number of people who come to me and they're like, I don't understand how you draw. And I'm like, well, you do this and you break it down. It's literally the same, but I'm just like, nope, don't understand. How they're like, well, just write what you feel. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't know what you mean. How do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. I like thinking about it in that way because it makes me approach the things that I can't do with a little bit more openness, because like there are things that I can do that other people look at and are like, how do you do that? So like I think we all have those things, and just calling it out and recognizing that it's one foot in front of the other for anything you're doing, even if it doesn't feel like that like at the start.
Yeah,
I think it's a good thing to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, random thing, I don't collect it anymore, but for a really long time I collected Pez containers. It's a little now I don't actually like the Pez candy. I think it's gross, but I really liked having Pez containers. Like I have a whole like Batman one. I have Disney princesses. I had some Star Trek. I have a whole lot of Star Wars. I don't know why. That was just a thing. I was like, these are fun. A lot of the molds are really bad, but they make me happy.
I like that. That's cute.
Yep.
For a long time I was collecting like wine corks because I thought I was going to do some cool art project with them. And I didn't. Like Mike was asking like, oh, do you want me to keep this cork? And I'm like, no. He's like, are you sure? And I just like eventually like threw them all away because I had such a cool idea, but I didn't have an actual idea. Like in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do some cool shit with those corks. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Like I don't have crafting abilities. Like I don't have the time to care. Throw them away. And if I want to buy a cork thing, I'll just buy it.
There are some really beautifully crafty people. Yeah, like I will support an artist who's making cool cork stuff because no.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, El Hanley. Chevron cars from their advertising. That's fun.
Yeah. And it's a weird thing, like it's not me directly, but I kind of like collect them so that I can also enjoy them as gifts. So my dad is a huge fan of aviation pinup art, and you can find them on like hammered tin, so it's not super heavy, or like aluminum, so it's slightly metal, but it's a girl and she's either like embossed a little bit but it's just cool aviation pinup art, and he puts them inside his trailer that he transports his airplanes in. That's so cool. like and it's just fun because you open it up and it's like all this like old school nose art, which I love as well. So like that's just a fun like, oh, this makes me happy. And they're sturdy, so it's not like a poster that's going to deteriorate. Like it's an actually piece of metal that is just nicely stained. And yeah, I just, again, fun, random.
Yeah, I like that. My grandfather was a pilot, and he would collect like beer can planes, like when you like cut up beer cans and like make them into a plane. He had those all over the house, and I think that's honestly like a lot of the reason I don't collect things. Like I will hold on to cards if you give me a card, it's gonna sit in a drawer for the rest of my life. Like I have cards from my whole life in a box in my closet. Because I really love cards, and
Yep.
I'll keep like sentimental things like that, but I don't really collect, and I think it's because my mom's parents were hoarder. They weren't hoarders, but like they had a lot of things. They were tchotchke pros. Like they
Also,
just had,
like that depression influenced. Again, so the styrofoam tray that comes under the meat that you buy, like mom collected them forever because they were okay for like paint palettes for the elementary school, but we would have thousands of them. I'm like, let it go, mom, let it go, please. And it's the same thing. Like now that I've cleaned out a number of relatives' houses and
yeah.
had to deal with all that, like not that I plan to ever have kids, but even just having to have someone else deal with that, like I don't want to put that on you. Like,
Yep. It was it
no.
was so hard for my mom. And my mom ended up throwing so many things away that she probably would have kept if she hadn't been so, because she was an only child. So like she was just so overwhelmed with the massive job that it was to clean out their house that like she threw everything away. My dad's parents, like if you like brought something in the house, they would like throw it out immediately. Like they would not. And there was plastic on the furniture. There was, they're those kind of people. Like
Yep.
everything was very neat, and my dad is the same way. Like throw it out. We would have throw it out Saturdays. Like you just go through and throw out everything that you're not actively using. So that's why I think like I don't really hold on to things unless they're like sentimental, or bags from HEB that we can put in our cabinet so that we can eventually put our recycling in the 17,000 bags that we have there.
Yeah, like tote bags. I just why do you have so many tote bags? You never use them. I'm like, but I need them. I cannot get rid of them. I need them. Yeah. And to your point about the cards, and this is again, we keep talking about how as we've gotten older, like I appreciated getting cards. I would keep them a lot of the time because they were cute or nice and stuff like that. But honestly, to make it on a very morbid note, like a lot of my relatives have passed away now. And on at least my mom's side of the family, there weren't a lot of us. Like we're a relatively small family. And so like my great aunt would write me, every year birthday cards and stuff like that. And like being able to go back and look at her handwriting on those cards, like it hits me a lot harder than I ever anticipated it hitting me. And I, like that little sentimental. And I remember I was listening to a podcast that was literally talking about someone who had lost their mom. And she's like, I found a box of cards I had just kept for her because she just always sent me cards. And I needed that. And I was just like, oh boy. Okay. Yep. That's a lot of emotion right there. So yeah, like I pick and choose. There's some where I'm just like, it's a bad card and you didn't say anything. But some of the other ones where I'm just like, oh, like that was my high school graduation, or, just silly little things or whatever was happening at that time. I was like, I kind of like that. I like having that.
I won't delete voicemails either. Like I will delete voicemails if they're spam or if they're not. But if they're from a person that I know, will not delete a voicemail because I am afraid of death every day.
Yep.
Anyway.
On a slightly sarcastic note, I had one of my all-time favorite when I was in college, and one of my drunk housemates called and left me a voicemail, and it is the most gorgeous thing, and I love it, and I saved it. And honest to God, had I not had a wedding that I was in the exact same day, I was going to go to his wedding and play that for him, because I was like, here's to you, Rob. And literally the end of the voicemail is like, I hope you have a lot of sex and never tell me about it. Okay, bye. And I was just like, I love you. This is our friendship. Like, thank you. So like, I get that. And I'd even like, I played it into like a recorder so that I had an MP3 of it because I didn't want to lose it.
Yep.
Yeah. Such a weird collection.
Collecting memories.
Yes. So yeah, like Steph said at the top, people in chat or people listening, like, let us know what you like to collect. What do you look for? Are you on your bookshelf, you have a whole bunch of stuff, or you throw it out as soon as the person who gave it to you has left the house? Because also I go to those houses that are super clean and I instantly feel like Pigpen, and I'm very stressed about it because I'm not actually that dirty of a creature, but all of a sudden I'm just like, this is so clean and my house was never like this. Like, I'm afraid to sit on your couch. Like, why are you sitting on the floor? I'm like, because I think this is where I belong. I don't know. Where is all your stuff?
Yeah. Yes, there are people who live in Pottery Barn catalogs, and then people who live in a Hot Topic. That's like the range of my sisters. Like one of their houses is a Pottery Barn catalog, the other one of their houses is like a Hot Topic store. And so like I think like we sit somewhere in the middle. With like some, things. But I'm really like mail, forget it. Mail's going to be on the table for at least 2 months, minimum 2 months for mail to be sitting on the table, even though I know I'm going to rip it all up and recycle it anyway. Like,
yep.
It needs to sit there. It needs to live in our house for a little while. It's welcome to.
I love it.
So people without clutter always like.
Yeah, it makes me very scared. Like I just it does need to think about when it's done. Yeah, Spectrum. I'm just gonna collect them until I have a whole thing and I can start like pulping them down and making bricks out of them because Spectrum won't stop sending me mail.
For real.
But hey, if you want to send us mail, send us an email because we're not going to give out our address. But hit us up at inadditionpod@gmail.com. Check us out every first and third Monday here on twitch.tv/almostdailypod. Check out the boys. Hopefully the internet sharks will let them have their regular episode coming up. But they're every Wednesday night if you want to follow them. And now that I think I berated Charles a little bit, our names should pop up the same in every feed that we're in. So you should be able to find us if you're just listening to us. But you should listen to them because they're pretty cool too. And I got to show the love. That's what I was going to do. I was like, wait, there's another thing. I know how this works. I'm really good at it. So in showing the love to what I will tangentially connect as far as people that we have collected, we collected some amazing friends from Dragon Con, and some of those friends have an awesome podcast, and they're called the Crash Test Pilots, and there's going to be an episode coming out featuring the two of us. So yeah, Steph and Swan do Doctor Who with the Crash Test Pilots, which was ridiculously fun. And I'm glad that they gave us a time cap because I'm pretty sure we could have just kept talking because it was super fun. So I think hopefully by the time this episode is coming out, you can check that out. But follow them. They're on Twitter. They are anchor.fm/Crash-Pilots. They also have a Twitch channel now. Same thing. So go over and give them a follow. They're not affiliate yet, so you can't see our video from it. But yeah, you'll get to hear the audio from that, and yeah, it was super fun. We have another possible roundtable in the works. So yeah, definitely give them a follow because we might show up again. And they talked about getting Steph on for another episode. So yeah. If you want to follow me, I am at a swan named Emily across the internet. It's Doodle Crew. It's this in addition, and also Sketching Shakespeare, which by the time you're hearing this, we will have done another episode of. So pop over to my Twitch and check it out there, or head over to my YouTube, search for that. Got another one coming up, which means I really need to finish the art for the one that we just did. So yeah. But yeah, we love you guys. You're awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and letting us collect you. Yeah. Thanks. We'll see you later. Bye. It's so long.
Okay. It's so long.
It's so long.
I don't know how else to do it without being weird.
Yeah, unless we do like the clap like we did before. I don't know. We're trying, Charles. I'm sorry if by weird you mean cool.
So cool.
Future X Skeleton.
Yeah. Listen. Future Skeleton.
All the coolest is what we are. Also, hi Kurt. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you so much for tonight. This was fun.
This was fun. I'm now super hyped about doing karaoke.
I miss karaoke so much. And there's just something so communal about it because like no one expects anyone to be good. And that to me is such a barrier breaker.
Yeah.
Because in so many circles that I'm in, I'm just constantly judged, whether it's like by actual other people or like myself. There's this like standard in karaoke. It's like no one cares.
Yeah. Yeah, Kurt, I don't want to call you Kirk. Kurt, there was a good conversation about karaoke. Yeah, I was gonna say, so definitely want to do it. And definitely need to be with people who want to do it, who want to be there for the experience. Like, don't go to a bar that's having karaoke and be mad that people are singing. Like, that's not fun for anybody.
Right. Right.
So.
And that's kind of like what I was trying to get across. Like the people who are, when you can tell it's just a bunch of buttholes in a bar, that's when I'll break out the On My Own and just like take it really seriously. Like take myself so seriously. Because I think that's the hang up is I think if you're like the more if you're willing to let loose and make it fun, like that's when it's fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that makes sense, Raging Lady Boner. Like if you've got a group who are in a singing group together and you kind of feel like you're in that competition mode, like that can get tricky if it becomes a competition.
Yeah.
But come
sing
karaoke with us.
I was gonna say you can sing with me anytime. I'm definitely not professional in any sense. Also, I'd be curious, Kurt, when it comes to yours, like, I would love if you went up to sing karaoke, but as like the barbershop quartet, and you just sang like your specific line out of that without the other three accompaniment, and just like
probably my favorite internet video of all time is Natalie Walker, who's a Broadway person, singer, and she has this video that comes out every Christmas, or resurfaces every Christmas, and it's All I Want for Christmas Is You, but just the alto part I sang in high school, and it's just like I and I.
That's fantastic.
It is,
and I love it so much.
Oh my gosh. I just want you for my own.
Yeah, show some love to some altos. We do not get a lot of melody. And it's so funny because I realized, like, so Toto's Africa is one that, like, we sing a lot in the car together. And it's so funny to me because, again, I have a number of people who have very different voices. And without fail, like, we all take different parts, and I just take the alto part. Like, I'm rarely singing the main lead on it because I'm just like he'll go up to his rise, and I'll go low. And they're just like, why do you do that? I'm like, because this is what I was trained to do. I don't know how to handle the main line. It's too much pressure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's that weird, like, singing men's songs is sometimes like too low and like trying to pop it up and then being in this weird middle ground. Like, I just have a weird, Kurt's got those big doomba dooms. Those bass dooms.
Shocking with the hot gravy over there. I don't know, Kurt. Even though I'm wildly intimidated, I would still sing with you, and then you could laugh at me later in private. I'd be all right.
Yeah, karaoke is a good.
Yeah,
I get more nervous in karaoke though. Like not
really,
nervous, but, like because it's a small space and I am very loud. Like unless I'm alone, if there are other people in the car, like I get real like self-conscious about how much I scream.
So Future X, we don't do a ton of emo, but like my friend and I who are heavy metal concert buddies, like screaming at the top of our lungs, "It's Your Fucking Nightmare" from Avenged. Like, it's loud. I'm pretty sure the other cars can hear us because it's just like just going. We're just going.
Cars definitely as I was driving home today, and it was Celine on the way home, and there were some cars next to me that were getting show. It's like a free concert for them, and honestly I'm not even a little bit sorry. You're welcome, actually. You're welcome. Cars around me, it's all coming back to you. Oh yes, Raging Lady Boner. Which part are you doing?
Yes. Are you pop? Are you squish? Are you six? Are you Cicero? Lipschitz? What's that? Pop, squish.
That was honestly, that was how I didn't meet Mike, but that was the first time Mike met me is when I was doing Cell Block Tango in a cabaret, and I was the Hungarian part, and he was like,
Ooh.
"Damn, this girl speaks Hungarian." She don't, but she's real good at learning other languages to say in a song. That's awesome. 6 is so good.
6 is really good. Yeah, the amount of time I spend singing along to Rammstein with knowing minute amounts of German. Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna marry.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. You guys are so stinking cute.
Yep.
That's not cute.
13 years later.
Aw. Yeah, the closest I ever got to Cell Block Tango is we did that. So we did a dance performance. Our story ballet was Aladdin. And so our interpretation of like when he gets thrown in jail is we did Cell Block Tango as all of the girls like interacting. Also, that's a long song and it's exhausting. Because we ended with like high kick, then down to the ground, and then high kick and down to the ground. I'm like, why would you do this? Why would you do this for 5 minutes?
I've done every iteration of Cell Block Tango like that's ever existed. I've done it on ice. I've done it dancing. I've done it singing. I've done it like too many ways.
Yeah.
And Raging Lady Boner, this is a good point. Like, people don't understand that singing different languages is not the same as actually speaking them. Like, I sing a lot of French. All my favorite musicals are just in French, and that's how I've learned a lot of French as well, because obviously like you learn choruses and you know what they mean, but like I love singing in French. Il Divo, like one of my favorite bands of all time.
Oh, their cover of Unbreak My Heart. I can't. Also, which shows up in an episode of Doctor Who. Chills. Chills.
Yeah. Definitely do. Raging Lady Boner.
Heck yeah.
I would love to chat. Either singing in different languages or Cell Block Tango.
Yes. Well, and I love like listening to like a lot of like K-pop artists. Because when I was real big into K-pop, unironically, they will throw in a lot of English words randomly, especially in the chorus. And like English is definitely not as like predominant. Like I think they know, but it's not even a comfortable like bilingual thing, but it's just they like the way that it sounds. And that's very much the same. Like when I'm singing along to stuff in German, it's not necessarily because I understand what I'm saying or like understand the word or pronouncing it correctly, but I'm mimicking the sound. I'm basically just parroting it back to you from what I heard. So
yeah, and that's how I learned. That's how I learned to sing in any semblance of what that means. Like I just hear what it sounds like and I make my voice do that. And that's why I don't have any technique. And if you ask me to sing a new song, like shit out of luck, because like I haven't heard someone do it before, so I can't do it. Like, oh, La Vie en Rose.
That's such a pretty song. I know it's super overdone, but I still love it.
It's beautiful every time.
It is. Madeline Perrault, a lot of her stuff I really like. Marie Lafoyer, I think. She has a version of Paint It Black by the Stones sung in French that I fucking love.
Yes. Thank you.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. So if you want me to mishmash my way, also I am very guilty of not knowing the words to English songs and just making up my own lyrics. So that's a thing.
I've never done that in my life.
It is strict on script all times. Oh gosh. Yeah. No, Kurt, I think it would be very fun to sing with you. I think that would be super fun. Yeah.
Me too.
This is so fun. Thank you, chat.
Yeah. Thanks all for being here. We'll see you. We'll see most of you on Wednesday in chat. So
yeah. Fingers crossed that everything cooperates for everybody.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a good couple days before we see you again.
Yes. Bye.